Let's continue with Genesis 38, Judah and Tamar. About that time Judah went down from his brothers and he camped near an Adullamite man whose name was Hira. There Judah saw the daughter of a Canaanite man whose name was Shua, and he took her as wife and slept with her. Then she became pregnant and gave birth to a son, and he named him Er. Judah is the one that David came through, right? She became pregnant again and gave birth to a son, and she named him Onan. She gave birth to yet another son, and she called him Shelah. He was in Chesib when she gave birth to him. Then Judah got a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was evil in Adonai's eyes, so Adonai put him to death. Okay. It's weird that something like this gets a mention in Holy Scripture that's about God, right? Like, what's the story here? Why is this included? What does that name mean? To err. Is that what it means? Like to make a mistake, to make an error? Then Judah said to Onan, "Go to your brother's wife to perform the duty of a brother-in-law to her and raise up a seed for your brother." Oh yeah, this is the part where Onan is, ejaculating on the ground and not fulfilling his duty to his brother, right? This is one of those parts that they use to judge people who masturbate, right? Like I've said it before that if you masturbate, just don't do it to any kind of like fetish stuff. If you can't control yourself and you don't have a wife, which is how you're supposed to, spend that energy, then just, something very vanilla. That makes sense to me. Because it's not really about that, what in this story happens. But Onan knew that the seed would not be his, so every time he went to his brother's wife, he would destroy it on the ground so as not to provide a seed for his brother. So this is so weird, like he goes there to be with the woman, satisfy his own lusts, and then he does not provide the child for his brother. This is something that he would have really believed in, and he didn't want to do it. He didn't do his duty as a member of the household, right? What he did was evil in Adonai's eyes, so he put him to death also. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, "Stay as a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah grows up," because he thought otherwise he too might die, like his brothers. So Tamar went and stayed in her father's house. So they think like the woman is the problem here, instead of the evil of those men. Alright? Now the days became many, and Shua's daughter, Judah's wife, died. After Judah consoled him, he went up to Timnah to his sheep shearers, he and his friends Hira, the Adullamite. What does that mean, Adullamite? I don't know, I'm just curious about the names a lot of the time because they have like some kind of context. Like names were way more important back then than they are today, right? My own mom named me Levi after the Levites because she wanted me to become some kind of a priest, right? Some kind of a faithful person. And I did, but not the kind that she probably thought. But I think her faith was real. Then Tamar was told, "Look, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his flocks." And she removed her widow's clothes from her, covered herself with a veil, wrapped herself, and sat by the entrance to the springs on the way to Timnah, for she saw that Shelah had grown up and she had not been given to him as a wife. When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute because she had covered her face. So he turned aside to her along the way and said, "Please let me sleep with you," for he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. "What?" she asked. "Will you give me to sleep with me?" "I will send you a young goat from the flock," he said, "provided you give a pledge until you send it," he said. "What kind of pledge shall I give you?" he asked. "Your seal and your cord and your staff in your hands," she said. So he gave them to her and he slept with her and she got pregnant by him. I don't know what to make of stories like this. You know, stuff like this like goes in one ear and out the other, honestly. It's so detached from anything that is modern, I feel like. I guess it's being clever about things. The men were supposed to like give the women away so they can start families with the men, right? With their men, their husbands. And that wasn't being done to her, so she did this clever thing, I suppose. Kind of weird that the father-in-law was just looking for a prostitute to have sex with. Right? And like there's a lot of sexual immorality in the Bible. She wanted the seal, cord and staff. There's probably some symbolism there. Anyway, after she got up and left, she removed her veil from herself and put on her widow's clothes. When Judah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend the Adullamite, he took back the pledge from the woman's hand. He could not find her. He asked the men of her area, saying, "Where is the cult prostitute?" I wonder what that means, cult prostitute. Was it some kind of a like pagan religion? Probably. She was at the springs along the way, but they said there hasn't been a cult prostitute here. So he returned to Judah and said, "I couldn't find her." And the people of that place also said, "There hasn't been a cult prostitute here." Then Judah said, "Let her take them for herself, or will be held in contempt. Behold, I did send this young goat, but you couldn't find her." About 3 months later, Judah was told, "Your daughter-in-law Tamar has been a prostitute. Look, she's even pregnant by prostitution." "Bring her out," Judah said, "and let her be burned." What? Judah is the one who had sex with her, right? What an incredible hypocrite. And this is the line that led to David. Right? But it was sort of cut, at least in the flesh, because Christ didn't have an earthly father, right? Only the Father in heaven. So it's not the same line as the Virgin Mary, right? Or is it the same? I don't remember. I don't know why I even care, honestly. A lot of people have went through those things, so if somebody wants to look into that more deeply, maybe they should. Maybe I should. I don't know. I'm more like interested in the spiritual things. Like we've been invited to be part of the true vine, through Christ, and that's a spiritual reality anyway, rather than one of blood and flesh. So I don't know how much I should care about that anymore. Anyway, Judah wants to burn her daughter-in-law. No, the daughter-in-law, yeah, Tamar. And she was being brought out. She sent word to her father-in-law saying, "I'm pregnant by the man whom these things belong." Then she said, "Do you recognize whose these are? The seal, the cords, and the staff?" Then Judah recognized them and said, "She is more righteous than I, since I didn't give her to my son Shelah." He was not intimate with her again. Now when it was time for her to give birth, behold, there were twins in her womb. While she was giving birth, one stuck out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread and tied it to his hand, saying, "This one came out first." But as he was pulling his hand back in, behold, his brother came out. So she said, "How you have broken through! The breach is because of you," and he named him Perez. Afterward, his brother, on whose hand was the scarlet thread, came out, and he named him Serah. What is breaking through in this story? I don't get it. Oh, is it actually just about the line of David, like breaking through? Like that despite all these sins, this sexual immorality, these hypocrisies, something is breaking through anyway, like regardless of them. I think maybe that's the story in here, Genesis 38. Like nobody is saved because men did the right thing. So when people read the scripture, the Bible, you're seeing like really bad examples almost non-stop. People just doing horrible things, but God breaking through anyway. His will being done anyway. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Anyway, thanks for listening. This Bible reading. I'm gonna relax a little bit. I'm a little tired. God bless.